How you doing, everybody? I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Shawn Adams.
And
This is Smacktalk. This is day 3 of our World Cup 2014 Brazil coverage. We had some pretty decent games all day today.
Had some upsets today.
We had
A upset.
one upset that is a pretty good upset.
No, I'm calling 2. I thought England was going to beat Italy.
That's not really an upset. Those are 2 good teams. It's not really an upset.
The upset was Wayne Rooney's miss.
An upset would have been a 4-1 victory for either side.
Well, you called Japan beating Ivory Coast.
And they were winning 1-0 for the longest time until
then God came in and decided that he was going to distract the entire Japan defense. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. The first game of the day was Colombia-Greece. Now, apparently I was wrong yesterday because I said scrappy Greece team. Apparently that team stayed in Greece with Sparta because they sent the Thespians to act like the Greek team. They got whooped by Colombia. It was bad. Colombia.
I'm pretty sure both of us called Greece to win the game.
Yeah, but for different reasons. They looked bad.
I know.
Colombia had 12 shots. 8 of those were on target. Greece had 12 shots. 7 were on target. The difference is Colombia put in 3. 3 went into the back of the net.
When it comes to fouls, I just want to bring this up again. Croatia 21, Brazil 5. This game
19 to
14. A little more even, don't you think?
Hey, we'll get into that. I think this is going to be a trend for the rest of the tournament. I'm just going to Hold on. Tuesdays, Brazil, Mexico. Can we get a foul prediction?
I'm calling 6 on Brazil and 19 on Mexico.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to go with 17 to 10. It's going to be a little bit closer. They're going to try to make it look.
They're going to call something on Brazil. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, they're going to try to make it look not as conspiracy.
So we're actually going to play a game.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay.
Back to the Colombia-Greece game. Greece was never really in it. In the 6th minute, there was a little tap in on a shot, a little redirection from the left back Armero, who plays for Udinese. And then it was 1-0 right off the get-go. Greece was already out of it. Greece had a lot of possession, but they couldn't break down the Colombian defense. And then Teo Gutierrez, Teo on the back of his jersey, scored in the 58th minute on a wonderful goal. And then, of course, in the scrappiness of Greece that I thought was going to happen, they lunge men forward, and then they get caught in the back in the 90th minute.
See, the thing for me is they lose 3-0. They still held possession, 54% to 46, and yesterday I was talking a little smack.
They were equal in all the stats.
Yesterday I was talking a little smack about Colombia and their lack of talent, but it's only because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, apparently, because looking at their roster, it's not bad. It's not bad. Even without Falco.
Yeah, without Falco,
they got the worst guy, the history of bad last names in Zuniga. And
that's a bad.
He's a quality player, though, and he's a fantastic midfielder.
I bet you if you play FIFA for the first time, you play with Colombia, you'll laugh the first time they
announce his name. Because they announce his name, and they do it with the British accent, and when they yell it when he's about to score, it's ridiculous.
Right. So, yeah, we were wrong on that game. We're going to have to big time. I'm not going to just, jump on a Colombian bandwagon.
No. Neither am I. But they played Greece.
I'll play.
I thought Greece's defense was going to be a heck of a lot better than it was. So, I mean...
Yeah.
It is what it is. We'll see what Greece does next game.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of next games, in that group, we're going to skip ahead to the night game that we just finished watching. In that group, Ivory Coast, Japan, as we said earlier in the show. Japan, through the 16th minute, on an excellent Keisuke Honda shot.
I want to know one thing, really quick. Did Colombia get the luckiest draw on the face of the earth?
You got to remember.
An Ivory Coast team that never made it out of group.
They're ranked in the top.
I understand, but
top 6 teams. So they got
the other groups have at least 2 powerhouses.
You got to remember though, you can't draw teams from the same conference. You know what I mean? When they do the draw, they're rated in the top 6. Brazil's already in one group, or top 7. Uruguay's in the other. So the way it goes. So because of that, it kind of prearranged some of the groups, the USA, because of the pot 3, they were going to be.
I would have rather had pot 4. We would have had a luckier draw.
I like the group that has Iran and Nigeria, Argentina and Bosnia. It's hey guys,
let's give it to Argentina.
Yeah, why don't you guys? Well, both of them, Bosnia too. Why don't you guys just go into the next round?
I hope Nigeria upsets somebody.
I hope they do too.
I know Iran's not going to do it.
I think Iran's got a good striker.
Not unless they use their nuclear technology and bomb somebody. All right, let's talk about the game.
The Ivory Coast Japan game. Japan was actually in control for most of the game. They're scrambling back on defense. Daisuke Honda made a great shot. Shinji Kawagawa, it started raining, which seemed to affect both teams, but it seemed to affect Ivory Coast more in the first half. Japan was scrambling, and I think that was the key to their, because it wasn't like Ivory Coast wasn't doing anything, because they definitely had chances, but they just weren't capitalizing. Japan was blocking shots in the box. Mm-hmm. The free kicks that Yaya Toure took weren't very good.
It started raining, pretty bad. 60th minute, Didier Drogba, God, comes into the game, distracts the entire defense of Japan.
Hold on. If you don't know who Didier Drogba is,
then you suck.
YouTube.
No, it's not that complicated. The guy's got a rocket shot.
The dude's awesome. Awesome.
He's got one of the best headers in the world.
And he scores the most important goals for clubs.
Oh yeah, the Chelsea goal.
The Chelsea goal. And the final penalty.
The final penalty. So he comes into the game. Japan's defense just totally, you could tell.
It was the first time he touched the ball.
They swarm.
The first time he touched the ball. He's like, you're not getting the ball because I'm stronger than you.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you're going, I don't know how tall he is, but he's going against my height Japanese guy, and he's, just so bowling him over. And, it is bad. It is bad. It's unfair. But that's not the name of the game here. So he fires a shot. And he has a little back heel to Kalu that doesn't go in.
Yeah.
But either way, then Japan swarms him and leaves Gervinho open for a header from Serge Aurier. And Aurier with another cross to
Wilfred Boney.
Who
actually, which is interesting.
After he kicked the ball off his own foot earlier in the game.
Hold on. Okay, so Didier Drogba is the guy in the lineup he replaced to start because Drogba came in as a starter, right? Boney wasn't having that good a game. When the coach brought in Drogba, it's almost like Boney was like, I better play better. I better play better. And he puts in a header.
I might lose that
It was
starting
actually
spot.
The fastest 2 goals of the tournament. There were 2 goals in 100 seconds. 100 seconds apart.
That's crazy.
Technically on the score sheet, it'll say 64th minute, 66th minute, but they were only 100 seconds.
Yeah, once you get into the 65th, it becomes the 66th.
So
minute.
Ivory Coast had 21 shots, but only 5 of them were on target. And like in hockey, it's a block shot. So like we said, it wasn't like they weren't shooting good shots. Japan was just blocking a lot of them. Fouls are even. Here we go.
Go ahead.
Fouls are even. 12-13.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Fouls are even, right? The offside possession was Ivory Coast. We knew that was going to happen. Yellow cards were even. I think, like you said, Didier Drogba changed the game. Now, what I want to ask you is, what would the scoreline have been had Didier Drogba started?
3-1, as I called it.
I think it might have been more.
I'm going to call 3-1.
Watching the game just when he was there makes me think it might have been more had he started.
The entire game plan for Japan completely changed in the second half. They went from attacking football to let's lay back and hold the lead. And that never works in soccer.
Never.
This lay back crap
Unless
and hold
you're
the lead. Well, yeah. Remember when, 2 years ago, AC Milan was up on Barcelona by 3 goals or 2 goals on aggregate?
2 goals on
aggregate. 2 goals on aggregate. And they just basically
parked the
bus in front of goal, and Messi and
if there's only one team that knows how to park the bus, that's Chelsea.
Yeah, well.
Chelsea.
They weren't playing Chelsea. They were playing AC Milan.
And not only that, if you talk about teams that park the bus, also AC Milan tried to do that against Arsenal. They went up 4-0 on aggregate against Arsenal. And Arsenal almost came back.
How about Arsenal and Bayern Munich in the Champions League? They were up 2 goals on aggregate too, and I think it was 3 goals on aggregate.
3 goals.
And Arsenal scored 2, and that last one would have not just tied it; they would have won
on away goal
rule.
Yeah. And they tried to park the bus and
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So that was that. So for the rest of the group, as we stand in this group after one round of games, Colombia and Ivory Coast both have 3 points. Colombia's got +3 goal differential.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the 3-0 thrashing. Japan is in third with 0 points, but only -1 goal difference. And Greece, unless they play better, is probably going to finish in 4th place.
What's up, Papadopoulos?
So what we called in the beginning yesterday was that the winner of the Japan-Ivory Coast game is also in.
Yes.
So we've got Ivory Coast in. So question is Colombia the other team?
Yeah, I think Colombia draws Ivory Coast, and I think Colombia beats Japan.
Okay, I'm going to have to see the Japan-Colombia game. I'm going to hold second place to that game.
Well, they got a week to make adjustments. We'll see what happens.
5 days.
Well, 5 days, almost a week. Whatever. Let's move on to the Uruguay-Costa Rica
Upset
game.
of the day.
Arsenal loanee, who goes out on loan to every team imaginable and never plays for Arsenal. Joe Campbell.
This guy's got a rocket, man. He needs to play. He needs to play for Arsenal. He's fast, he can dribble, and he can shoot with that left foot.
Obviously, because he scored a goal. In the 54th minute, he scored a goal.
Yeah, they were down. They were down 1-0 on an Edison Cavani penalty.
Yeah.
It went into halftime 1-0.
Halftime 1-0, and then 3 goals. I thought Ruiz would do something.
He played defense.
He did well, but he didn't score.
He was doing what he did all year at Fulham.
Yeah,
trying to stop other people from scoring instead of trying to score. I thought he would score 2. The second goal that they scored on Duarte, which was also 3 minutes. They got 2 goals in 3 minutes. Was actually slightly offside. It's another one of those marginal calls, but I'm seeing less. I don't know if somebody made a phone call to the refs, but we're seeing less questionable calls up until we watched the Ivory Coast Japan game when the could have been a penalty. Although
maybe.
After watching the replay,
it was good though. It was good tackle.
Watching replay is different, but so maybe they've made some adjustments. Maybe we're not going to see as many. It's not like there's not going to happen. Maybe something was said because of the media scrutiny on the opening night.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. Argentina's getting 2 penalties tomorrow because they're the king of flops.
Yeah. Well, no. Here's the thing. I think that the reason why it got so bad. Okay, if Fred had done that in the third round of the group stage or the knockout stage, first round of the knockout stage,
you have that let him play mentality at that point.
It's not going to be as big of a deal, but because it's opening night, everyone's watching.
I want to point out something. Costa Rica had 12 shots, 4 only on goal, 3 went in. Hashtag Muslera sucks. Okay.
He did text that to me today. I'm gonna say the Joel Campbell one is a great goal. Okay. The Duarte one, Muslera's definitely out of position, and the guy's kind of offside, not big time offside. And then the Urena one, the final, the third goal, definitely on Muslera because when your center back is covering a runner, you don't charge out because he's going to do exactly what happens. He's going to tap it in cross goal because there's nobody there to stop it. See, if you held your position
either that and he taps across, you shape it around the goalie. It's not that complicated.
Well, he's going.
This isn't hockey.
I know, but he's going across his body.
Is huge.
So if Muslera had stayed in goal and he does that shot, Muslera's there to stop it. But because Muslera's out, there's no one there.
That's right. Fouls. 20-18.
Hey,
whoa.
It's even. Hey, what do you know? Uruguay did have possession, and we did have the first red card of the tournament.
Max Pereira
on Joel Campbell.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where
it took a while for the ref to pull out that card.
Well, I think they were trying to figure out who it was because the almost like fighting, not really fighting, but they got in each other's faces, the other team members and stuff. Because it's one of those emotional things. You're losing bad to a team you're probably not supposed to lose to.
Yeah.
And he just kicks him in the shin, kicked him pretty hard too.
Yeah.
And so the ref gave him the red card. So Maxi Pereira will miss Uruguay's next game against England.
Well, speaking of people missing players for Uruguay,
no
Luis Suarez didn't come in. I don't know if they're trying to keep him fresh or his knees really bothering him. But I think if Suarez is in the game, it's a completely different game.
Oh yeah, it's not about the fact that he's got the ball. He's creative. The runs that he makes.
And it's not going to be Costa Rican coming back from 1-0.
I call that the Theo Wilcott factor. When you have somebody that can cross the field and run, and when they get the ball, they're not just looking to shoot. Although Suarez does take some crazy shots, and he makes them. It's the fact that when they make the run and they're open and they get the ball, they make the pass that the other team. It's not like they're just laying it back off to the guy that just gave it to him. They're like, I got the ball wide open. I'm crossing it to the guy on the other side. They do things like that. Suarez is definitely a very creative player. He's a nuisance to defenses. It would have been a different game. However, he didn't play. Costa Rica's 3 points.
Here's what you got to watch about Costa Rica: the speed up front, because their counterattack was sick.
Yeah,
and their counterattack is what they scored on.
Yeah.
So you got to watch out. I mean, if you're attacking on them, you gotta.
I'll tell you what the counterattack and
gotta play defense.
Arsene Wenger, I hope you watch the show because Joel Campbell led that counterattack. Quick.
So we had the one red card. We had 6 yellow cards on Costa Rica. They were playing a little aggressive, and Uruguay had 3. Yeah. Uruguay did hold possession 54-46 though. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's a lot of tired legs. I told you this while it was happening. A lot of tired legs. We're seeing it. This Brazil heat.
The stats, man. The stats are in favor of Uruguay.
Yeah, except for the 6 offsides, all of them on Edison Cavani, who just couldn't seem to remember that you have to be behind the last defender when the ball's played forward. Because he consistently made the same run to the same open area, and the balls were getting there. They were good passes. It's just that, oh, great, you left a little too early. A lot too early. A mile too early. A year too early. You left, the plane was still in Uruguay. You were already in Brazil early, and you didn't figure it out. At the end of the game, when they did it like the final time, I couldn't understand what's going through Edison, because he's got that look on his face like, he's got that, I wasn't offside. Like, if you could see the replay they're going to show me, you are a mile off. Yeah, you're offside. So
let's talk about the other game in that group.
The Italy-England game, the marquee game of the day.
The game that is depressing both of us as we talk about it.
Yeah, well,
I'm Italian, but I'm an England fan.
Yeah. Hey, Sturridge scored. In fact, Marquisio, the opening goal of the game, 35th minute, Andre Pirlo, this dude is sick.
Didn't even touch the ball. But
he made it look like he was going to touch the ball. Yeah. He makes the game look so easy. Literally, the guy, I don't know his name. It's not Cellini. It was the other, the right back. Mm-hmm. He's on he's going to cross it. He passes it back across the box, the outside of the box, and Pirlo runs on it, and I'm going to stand up real quick. He runs on it, and he does I'm going to shoot, but he doesn't touch the ball. It rolls right through to Marquisio, who shoots through like everybody, and it goes in. And it's a great shot because he had enough time. They said it. There was like nobody within 10 feet of him. He had enough time to stop the ball, roll it forward, look at his spot, and put it in place. And you got to give credit to Marquisio for having the skill to shoot like that, because there's a few people that would just take a shot and wing it, and it's going to go wherever it goes in or not. Yeah. So England goes down 1-0, and 2 minutes later, an excellent Rooney cross, which is his only good play he made all day, to Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah, I had it backwards. Yesterday I said Sturridge to Rooney for the goal, and it was Rooney to Sturridge for the goal.
Yeah, and Sturridge put it in. It wasn't a matter of insane skill. It's just something that Sturridge has done, 30 times for Liverpool this year. Yeah. A lot of balls like this. He just taps it in. There's no stopping it. So it was 1-1. And you really got the feeling like the game could go either way. However, on a simple cross into the box, after the same back, not Cellini. I don't know the guy's name. It's not Cellini.
You didn't know him yesterday either.
I know, but it's not Cellini, because Cellini plays on the other side. He fakes out, not Leighton Baines. He fakes out...
Jagielka.
Fakes out Jagielka. He acts like he's going to cross it. Jagielka goes one way. He stops, comes back in, and then he just throws a looping crosser, and Balotelli puts it in past.
Let's talk about Leighton Baines for a minute and how many times he got burned today.
Well, a lot of that's Rooney's fault, because Rooney was not condensing the space.
All I can say is that a lot of times
he was having trouble. He
couldn't keep up. And all I got to say is there's a young guy on that squad that plays that position.
Named Luke Shaw.
Who can keep up. And I know that he's never played in a World Cup before. However,
neither did Adam Lallana or Jack Wilshere.
I mean, I think it's time to make a few changes.
Or Ross Barkley. However, Ross Barkley was the bright spot of my game, because when I watched him come in, he immediately took a shot that was on target. He's got a rocket foot. We know this from watching him play at Everton. My opinion is this. Raheem Sterling looked great early. His legs got a little tired. Probably should have subbed him out. However, not having Oxlade-Chamberlain, because he's still nursing the injury, affects the sub ability. I felt like your subs probably should have been Luke Shaw for Leighton Baines. I wouldn't have subbed in Wilshere early. I probably would have started Wilshere. I probably would have started Lallana. Jordan Henderson really didn't do much.
No, I didn't understand that pick on the starting 11 either.
So I wouldn't have had those as subs, because they would have been already in the field. I would have had Ross Barkley come in like he did. Okay, he did sub in Ross Barkley for Jordan Henderson, but at that point you could sub in Wilshere or Lallana for Ross Barkley. And the final sub I would have made would have been,
say it,
Raheem Sterling, because he was tired, for Ricky Lambert.
Yes.
Because
look,
what was lacking late in the game was a big body
strength,
because they were crossing the ball all day, but there was no one there. And Rooney's a midget, so the ball at the back post, Rooney just goes over his head. you know, and it's not. And Rooney had a chance to level the game. He had an open chance, and he shanked it. He shanked it. He shouldn't have. It was horrible.
You know,
in fact,
this
Rooney,
game was open
get on
for
Twitter.
England.
He got beat up on Twitter.
Yeah. This game was open for England to win. No Buffon in goal for Italy.
Yeah.
Al Sharway obviously injured. Balotelli kind of took over a little bit there.
Well, in the beginning, Balotelli was getting hurt by Cahill.
Yeah.
Cahill had him under control, but eventually Balotelli's got the strength. He's a nuisance, you know.
So yeah, England led in shots, 18-12, 8 on goal against 5 for Italy. Fouls were only 12-8, still even. But it was obviously a fair played game. Corners
Italy,
9
corners,
for
nobody
England.
in the box, exactly.
Dude, it's like, come on, man, you got some of the best guys that can put it into the box, like Leighton Baines, even though he had a bad game. Steven Gerrard. I mean, these guys just lay it in there easily. There should be someone there for a header. On 9 corners?
7 offsides for Italy.
Ridiculous.
7 offsides for Italy.
Rooney is the king of offsides, but England had 0 offsides.
That's because Sturridge was playing up front. Rooney was
playing. No, I mean, 1 yellow card to England, and Italy led possession 52-48, which is basically 50-50 for the game.
Okay, so, my biggest thing is, okay, problem with the subs, but I look at Andre Pirlo and his 108 passes, 103 completed, 95% completion percentage. Center of the midfield, anchor, Gerrard, having to share that role with Jordan Henderson. I think you need to put Gerrard there by himself, Wilshere and Lallana. There's your midfield. Jordan Henderson, you could be a sub. You know, you don't have to go all Liverpool players to start the game.
Why is Henderson even there? I mean, you have Frank Lampard.
Yeah, you got Lampard. What are you forgetting about Frankie? Anyways, so yeah, it was definitely bad. So in that group, you got Costa Rica in first place after 1 round, 3 points on a +2 goal diff. Italy with 3 points, only got a 1 goal diff. England in third place, Uruguay in last. Uruguay will play England 5 days from now. And Costa Rica will play Italy. I seen one of the memes. There was this video circulating the internet where it's like a prank where the guy acts like he's axe murdering some guy in a corner, and the guy walks up on him, and then the clown comes running after him. And the meme's like,
I've seen it.
Okay, so it shows Costa Rica, the flag of Costa Rica, over the flag of Uruguay as the axe, and Italy's coming, and then it comes around, and it's like, hey, Costa Rica, they have never made it past the group stage. Prior to this game, they'd only had 3 victories in the World Cup.
China, Sweden, and some other team that didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I just named 2 teams that are not in the World Cup right now.
Yeah, but
the third team, I don't think.
But the last win was in 2002 against China.
And this is the first time Costa Rica's ever scored 3 goals in a World Cup final.
They've now won 4 games. Guess what, guys? 3 of those wins, opening game.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, but 3 of those wins were against whack teams.
Well, the one win that wasn't was against Sweden. That was the one against Sweden.
Get the ball to Zlatan. I mean, the one...
No, Zlatan. Okay. We're talking about like 1994 in L.A.
Okay.
Before Zlatan was even born type thing.
All right, so they were still weak, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yes, Sweden was weak. Okay, so that wraps it up for today's action. Tomorrow's action, we've only got 3 games tomorrow because, FIFA, they like to just throw a curveball. It's Sunday. They do not want to compete with the NBA Finals. I'm serious. The TV markets, ESPN owns the broadcasting rights. They won't broadcast the games. It's so bad what they do. So we're going to have an early game, an afternoon game, and then a mid-afternoon game. And then when that's done, the NBA Finals will start, which is not even going to be watched because the Spurs are going to kill them. But the first game is Ecuador versus Switzerland.
3-1 NBA Final, and you're worried about people not watching it?
It's not. But
didn't we talk about what the world thinks of basketball?
I know, yeah. But the thing is that schedule was set before we even knew what the finals were going to be.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
Anyways. So Ecuador versus Switzerland is the first game. Switzerland is like the 3rd ranked team in the world on the coefficient rankings.
Which are the dumbest rankings I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Uruguay was the 7th.
Bad.
Uruguay was 7th.
7th.
Costa Rica's 28th.
Oh, we're 15th.
13th.
Oh, excuse me.
We're higher than England. But I want to say this. Hold on. Can I say something? CONCACAF, 2-0 in the World Cup so far.
If Honduras wins tomorrow,
if Honduras
I'll
beats
crap
France,
myself.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Everybody's gonna start talking about CONCACAF now.
Yeah.
Hold on now. Wait.
Yeah, because people forget Costa Rica was the second place team in our region. United
They
States
played awesome in qualifying.
and we beat them in the snow game. It was the only game.
They should have won that game.
They should have won that. They shouldn't have even played.
No, that's true.
The captain did protest it, but anyway. So Ecuador versus Switzerland. For those of you guys don't know, Ecuador is only in the World Cup because they play like 16. I don't know, not 16. They play really high altitude. So in Cannonball, where they play Uruguay, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, all these people, well, they don't have to play Brazil because Brazil's already in.
Mm-hmm.
In the qualifying, Paraguay and all these other teams, Chile. When they get to play at home, it's like playing in Denver.
Mile High Stadium.
Yeah, it's the altitude.
I think it's worse.
People underestimate. Yeah, but they don't play that well on flat ground. So Switzerland has never played in a game above 74 degrees. This is going to be an interesting game because Switzerland's good. They got Shaqiri.
Zaka.
Yeah, Zaka Shaqiri plays for Bayern Munich. It's going to be an interesting game because you got one team that's not used to the heat, another team that's not used to the regular altitude.
Who's the Swiss goaltender?
I don't know, but they also have.
I know they got a few young guys that are really good.
Yeah, it's all young players.
They're a solid squad. I can't name you one guy in Ecuador. That's for darn sure.
I probably could if I was playing FIFA.
So I have it 2-0 Switzerland win. Shawn is under the impression.
I got the 0-0 draw. I'm looking for the first goalless game of the finals.
Shawn is under the impression that just because it's over 70 degrees,
Switzerland
can't play soccer.
Hey, I've been watching these teams like Uruguay who play in South America have tired legs.
I'm all for looking at stats and stuff like that, but when you come up
looking
with
for an edge, man,
crap
looking for
like
an edge.
that, I mean, that's like saying, look, the Chicago White Sox haven't lost a game in the month of April when it's raining and they're down by 2 runs when Burley was on the mound. Come on. It doesn't make any difference.
If Burley's on the mound, it's the month of April, and it's raining, I'm going for White Sox, dude. I'm just saying. I got a 0-0 draw. I'm calling the first scoreless game of the World Cup. Oh, speaking of which, I was telling Tony this while we were watching Ivory Coast Japan game. Ivory Coast Japan game is the 8th game of the tournament. But prior to this, the 7 games that had been played, there had been 25 goals scored total in the first 7 games. No, but the ball looks great. Last World Cup in South Africa, in the first 7 games, there had been 9 goals scored. And people were complaining about the composition of the ball and how it took funny bounces and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that wasn't a factor for the teams like the Netherlands, Brazil, Germany, the teams that made
quality players.
Well, yeah, right. But it did happen. You got to remember, Spain lost their opening game just like this year, and then went on to lift the cup. Actually, it was like a 0-0 draw or something like that with somebody whack. But
hell, Senegal beat France.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
France went 0 for 3, and so did Italy.
I'm just saying.
Could have been the ball.
Could have been the ball.
Could have been the ball. I think it's interesting now because now we have a quality ball, more like the ball that is used in the leagues, like La Liga, like the Premier League, like Bundesliga.
Well, they're used to it.
They're used to a ball like this, so the good players are, as you see, they're doing things right. So that could be a factor when it talks about, okay, you get the upsets, right? You're going to have the upsets in every World Cup, but then you're going to get the good, when we get into the knockout stages, you're going to have the good teams versus good teams, right? The marquee matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are going to come down to more of like who's got more talent. Because right now it's like Costa Rica played a great organized team, great on counterattacking, right? Mm-hmm. But if we're in the knockout stages and it's Costa Rica, Argentina, Costa Rica doesn't stand a chance. In a 1-game scenario, they don't stand a chance. Because right now, we talked about this yesterday.
Look, bro, I think
the 3 games to qualify.
I think because it's a 1-game scenario, they do stand a chance. I think that if it was a best 2 out of 3 or a goal aggregate 2 games, Argentina runs away with it. But it's 1 game, dude. Anything can happen in 1 game.
All right, so second game, the noon game, France versus Honduras.
Cut me off because I was giving you the Rudy speech. Like, come on.
One game.
Anything.
All right, so Honduras has got a chance tomorrow against France.
Yeah, they got a chance.
France, Honduras. France put up 7 on Jamaica. How much did Honduras?
Jamaica didn't qualify.
They drew both games against Jamaica.
We drew 1 game against Jamaica.
France put up 7 on Jamaica.
It's 7. It's 2-1 France, but I still think Honduras scores.
I got it 4-0 France. Oliver Giroud with a hat trick.
Why do you got to be such a homer?
Because I love that dude.
I mean, it has nothing to do with Benzema.
Benzema's not going to play.
It has nothing to do with Ribery.
Ribery's out. He's not.
It has nothing to do with anybody else on that team. It's just Oliver Giroud.
Yep.
You are the
Hugo Lloris in goal.
Ever.
Oh, here we're gonna see Hugo Lloris in goal.
About your overrated Hugo Lloris either.
Hugo Lloris in goal.
Tottenham goalie. He couldn't even get past the freaking. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
All right, let me ask you this: best goalie in the tournament so far?
Best goalie so far in the tournament?
I'm gonna say Seguiru.
Why?
Because Buffon is hurt the night before the thing. This guy comes to the World Cup simply to practice with Buffon. He's not going to play. He's there to practice. The night before the first game against England, it's not like they got a cupcake matchup. And he's like, oh, by the way, you're it. You're our goalie. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Because it's not like they're just playing England and then some cupcakes. They got Uruguay. And they got Costa Rica, who apparently brought their A game. You know, Seguiru so far has played better than any other goalie.
Who did we watch yesterday?
I couldn't tell you.
The Netherlands?
Yeah, but Netherlands doesn't have a goalie.
I'm asking you who we watched yesterday. Obviously, Spain don't have a goalie. I like the David De Gea.
David De Gea, yeah. Son, I posted his name on a link, Facebook, said this man deserves a start, and it was David De Gea. And you know what? I may not like Manchester.
Reina's old, bro.
I know. I may not like Manchester United, but I think David De Gea is probably the second best young goalie in the world right now.
To who? Wojciech Szczesny?
Wojciech Szczesny, yeah.
Freaking homer.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next game after that tomorrow, Argentina and Bosnia.
Which you could call the marquee matchup.
Well, considering what else is there, yeah,
no, that's what I'm
sure.
Saying. And plus, it is Bosnia's first ever appearance in a World Cup final. You know, formerly Yugoslavia, things like that.
Yeah. Edin Dzeko.
Edin Dzeko, who's the goal-scoring machine.
Yeah. You can't just. I mean, it's Argentina. You got Messi. You got Aguero.
The best player on Argentina. Best player on Argentina.
It's Messi.
Messi, the captain, El Capitan.
Okay, and Sergio Aguero, Lavezzi. I mean, you got players that are amazing.
One question: who's their goalie?
I don't care.
That's the problem, right there.
Okay, so Dzeko puts 1 in, but Messi puts 2 in.
Messi probably put like 6.
Yeah, okay. I still got a Bosnia upset, 2-1.
Ooh, I'm going 3-1 Argentina. I'm going for a Messi hat trick.
You know what I like about Shawn? He doesn't ever pick an upset, ever. The only upset he had, Japan. How'd that work out?
Hey, they were winning 1-0 from us game.
But if you go back to the top 5, when I say top 5 sleepers, I had Costa Rica as a sleeper.
They won the first game. They've done that 3 other times. Never made it to the knockout stages.
Your sleeper has not done nothing.
Hey, my sleeper. I got another sleeper that's going to play on Monday.
Who's that?
Russia.
I
forgot
who my other sleepers were.
Yeah, I could tell you is Belgium, who's not really a sleeper.
Wait a second. We had 5.
No, we had 2 apiece. You had Belgium and Costa Rica. I had Russia.
Well, when Belgium wins the whole damn thing, you talk to me.
Speaking of things rigged, right? So I'm looking up stats the other day. Travel distance of the teams during the group stage.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about how Brazil doesn't go anywhere.
No. Brazil, the United States travels more than anyone else. 5,600 kilometers. Check this out. Germany in the group.
I bet you Brazil's got a private jet, and we're on one of those school buses with no windows where the moths are flying through and stuff.
Germany in the same group.
There's the guy in the back going.
Germany's in the same group, and they travel like 1,500 kilometers. Because granted, we're in Brazil, we're not imperialistic bastards, yards and miles and shit, right? So, and I really don't want to work out the math of that 1 kilometer equals 0.62 miles on every one of them. Bad that I know that. So when USA plays Germany on the final round, okay, the final game that I'm going to miss work for, my boss already knows, to watch it at 9 a.m.
Me too.
You better too. We're going to be watching here. Okay,
I have a
so if the United States has a chance, there's one thing in mind. They will have traveled 4,000 kilometers more than Germany. They will have traveled from France to China's borders more than Germany. And you talk about Belgium winning all, they only travel 698 kilometers.
The whole tournament?
The whole group stage.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a tournament.
Less than 1,000. They're the only team with less than 1,000. Teams like Colombia.
Sleeper.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So Colombia, right? You talk about
I knew that. That's why I picked them.
Yeah,
Come on.
You know, Colombia, you just talked about the group, the favorable draw, right? Everyone else in their group, over 3,000 miles, 1,200. Or not miles, kilometers. Everyone's 3,000 kilometers. Colombia, 1,200 kilometers. We're not
That's
going
awesome.
anywhere.
FIFA's great.
And if you watch the Colombia game, the whole stadium was yellow.
If the damn thing was in the U.S., they'd make freaking U.S. travel from Hawaii to Maine 3 times. Back and forth.
U.S.'s travel schedule would be from Miami to Seattle to Boston. They would hit all 3 corners, and teams like
Brazil
teams
would
like
go
Brazil,
from Tallahassee to Miami to Tampa Bay.
It'd be like Los Angeles to San Diego to Phoenix.
Ridiculous.
That would be the same. Germany would get something like New York. They'd also play in Boston, and then they go to like Pittsburgh and play. Yep. And they get these little travels. And teams like Honduras, they'd be like Dallas Fort Worth.
Oh yeah,
Dallas Fort Worth area, Minnesota, and then to San Francisco. You know,
and they make sure it's friggin' cold in Minnesota when it happens.
Yeah,
you know?
The one game that's played in January. Hey, speaking of which,
thanks FIFA, we love you.
Speaking of which, the Qatar World Cup of 2022.
I don't even want to hear about this crap.
They're investigating it, right? They want it. Not only do they want to check to see if the bidding process is official, they've been talking about because it's so hot in Qatar. Should have thought about this before you gave them the bid.
You think?
Moving into the winter, right? Do they realize that in winter it's still hot in Qatar? There's no snow on the ground or anything.
That's like saying let's do it in the summer in Alaska. You know what I'm saying? It's still a tundra. Yeah. You know what I mean? All right, let's get down to the sports real quick. We gotta go. LA Kings won a Stanley Cup last night in double overtime against the Rangers, which really sucks. I'm a little depressed. Go Blackhawks.
Williams won the Conn Smythe Trophy.
I don't care. I didn't watch any of that.
He scored more goals. He scored more goals than Wayne Gretzky did during LA Kings in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Here's the one thing he said earlier, though, that the Hawks and the Kings have a new rivalry going on, and I agree because when the Kings were the Stanley Cup champions, the next year the Hawks knocked them out, and they became Stanley Cup champions. And then the next year, the Kings knocked them out, and they became Stanley Cup champions. So
they've won, between them, they've won 4 of the last 5. They went Hawks, Bruins, then Kings, then Hawks, now Kings.
Yep.
So 4 of the last 5 have played, and Tony had said this in a few shows ago, that the Game 7 between the Hawks and Kings
basically
was going to decide the cup. And it happened to be right, because it didn't just decide the cup.
It didn't happen to be right. The entire Eastern Conference is weak.
Yeah, I know, but it didn't happen like, oh, the Kings went on and they went up 3 games on the Rangers.
It was bad. It wasn't competitive.
It wasn't. And you know what? In the one game that Quick was having like an off night, giving up rebounds, they still tie the game going to double overtime.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Spurs are up 3-1 on the Heat. We talked about this yesterday. It doesn't really matter. Game 5's tomorrow. Well, today, if you're watching it, maybe, I don't know, the Spurs are going to win. Big 3 my ass. I'd love to say that. LeBron, Mr. I'll never be Jordan James.
No comment.
Dwayne, I should have went to Chicago a long time ago. Wade.
Chris,
Mr. Overrated Bosch. Chuck Noll dies. Pittsburgh Steelers former coach. Led the Steelers to Super Bowls.
That's right.
One of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yep. One of only 3 Pittsburgh Steelers coaches in the last 40 years.
Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, Mike Tomlin. That's cool, man.
All of them got a Super Bowl, right?
I like it. Martin Keimer, a German, is leading 7 Americans right now in the U.S. Open of golf. Martin Keimer.
On a course that he's never played before.
My Führer is -8. Okay.
Keimer. Oh my god, that was good. My Führer.
Keimer's -8. Ricky Fowler's -3, and Snedeker's right there with him at -3.
Oh my God! I can't believe you just
Phil
said
Mickelson, who came in second the last 3 U.S. Opens, is nowhere near it. Pinehurst, they're playing in Pinehurst. I think Ricky Fowler's got a chance because Keimer shot 2 back-to-back 65s, which was a U.S. Open record, and he went +2 today. And Fowler had a nice par day. So we'll see what happens. Final round tomorrow.
Final round tomorrow, yeah. Thanks for watching Smack Talk. I'm Shawn Adams.
I'm Tony Gaglione.
Oh, that was great.
Enjoy the World Cup, guys.